Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game. Ren here, and if you're a fan of RPGs and general discussions about the games we all know and love, then you've definitely found a friend in this channel. I post at least once a week on topics from pickup videos, new releases, to just talking about the games that have reached hallowed status in my heart. So thank you so much for watching, and today I'm talking about the top 5 games I want a remake for. Let's check it out. I just finished playing Trials of Mana, and I absolutely loved it. And now I'm getting into the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's taking my heart by storm. And those two games in particular inspired me to make today's video. And thinking back, when I played the Resident Evil 2 Remake, it just absolutely became one of my favorite scary games of all time. So it lets me know that, reliving the magic of these original releases is absolutely possible, but it definitely takes the care and dedication of developers who have the same passion as the fans. So without any further ado, number 5, Zelda Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I'm a Zelda fanatic. The semi-recent remake of Link's Awakening was distilled nostalgia, sending me into a euphoric state of happiness. It was tough for me to choose between this Game Boy Zelda duo or the nigh flawless masterpiece of the Minish Cap. Really though, when I think about it, the Minish Cap could honestly just do with a port because it still holds up even after all these years. Game Boy Advance and Super Nintendo games just hold up really well in some cases, but don't get me wrong, I'd love to see the Minish Cap come back soon too. But at the end of the day, seeing the classic Link's Awakening get the gorgeous makeover in the recent remake, it just got me thinking about Zelda games that have kind of fallen into obscurity. Excluding the beautiful CDI games, I think Zelda Oracle Duo would be a prime material for a remake. I only ever played Oracle of Seasons back in the day. I think it's been just long enough where I believe I could have that brand new experience playing them again. I personally want to try the Oracle of Ages games as my brothers were the ones who played them. These games have that charming style that I think could really mimic the recent re-release. Even though the new Link's Awakening style was controversial for some, I personally found it to be adorable and very appealing. What's so cool about these games is that they incorporate the items Link finds to drastically alter your surroundings. It was so fun back in the day using the weather-changing mechanics from Seasons to reach the next goal. Zelda is among my favorite franchises of any and all games ever made. The series is timeless, and the handheld Zelda games are underappreciated in relation to their bigger console brethren. The fans of the Zelda Oracle series are passionate and dedicated for very good reason. Remaking these would be a dream come true for old school Zelda fans and allow the new fans to experience the timeless classics from earlier in the franchise's history. I mentioned before that recently I had the absolute pleasure of playing and beating Trials of Mana on the Switch. I got to experience the incredible story and gameplay. Honestly, if I knew I would get so addicted to it and beat it so quickly, it definitely would have been on my top games I beat in 2020 list. Phenomenal experience. I love the graphics and the character design so much, and it ran so well. But it got me to thinking, this game is a remake of an unreleased Japanese version of the game. What if Square could take another deeply loved and beloved classic and give it the same treatment? Well, that leads me to my number 4, Chrono Trigger. In all honesty, I genuinely believe Super Nintendo JRPGs still hold up exceptionally well, even compared to modern sprite games. However, way back in the day, there was an extremely dedicated fan remake of Chrono Trigger that received the good old cease and desist banhammer from Square. My friends and I were devastated back in the day when we learned of this game's cancellation. That reminds me, I need to check back on Skywind's progress. Back to Chrono. This game has a religious following of believers that would die for this game to get a remake. Now, when I say I want Chrono to be remade like Trials of Mana, what I mean is in the 3D art design. This is extremely risky, I know, but so was the original Trials of Mana game. I think with the right approach, the original gorgeous art of Akira Toriyama would translate wonderfully to 3D. and it already has made the jump to draw-dropping effects with the many Dragon Ball fighting games. In fact, it can be done, and Trials of Mana was a great and crazy fun test run for it. It's funny, but Chrono Trigger can almost turn back the clock and take us back to simpler days when the world moved just a little bit slower. The combat has already been imitated with excellent games such as I Am Setsuna. It shows that it has staying power to still be fun today. I would prefer the game to keep its original turn-based nature because Trials of Mana honored its original form as well in its remake. I'll be honest, the DS port is phenomenal of Chrono Trigger, but it's climbing in price here lately. I genuinely believe remaking this game for modern consoles would be a straight-up win all around for the developers. And most importantly, the passionate gamers who have been shouting the praises of this game for decades. Number 3. Final Fantasy VI. I want to start by saying this is actually the last game on the list that I'm going to specifically cite a current style in a game to reference as a style I'd love to see the remake in. However, playing Octopath Traveler was such a wonderful experience. The combat was fresh and had unique traits that kept it fun and exciting for me. The music is powerful and left an emotional impact that helped carry you onto each member's storyline. Now, while the semi-disconnected story on Octopath Traveler may not have been my favorite, I truly believe this game could very well be one of the most beautiful games I have ever played. It is for sure sprite-based, but something so distinct about the aesthetic that kind of stopped me in my tracks. Octopath is incredible, and some would even say it's their favorite game. And personally for me, I could not help but think of my own favorite Super Nintendo sprite-based game that I would tear up if it would be remade with the same graphics of Octopath Traveler. And that is obviously Final Fantasy VI. I know I have already gushed about this game on the channel, but give me one moment here to get the rest of it out. This game has one of the most extraordinary casts of heroes in all of gaming, and it's coupled with who I would consider to be gaming's best villain, Kefka. Great Moogle maestros. I would give so much just to see this game get the Octopath remake treatment for modern consoles. Please put that on Switch. From the Magitech to the locations you come across in this game, it would look incredible from the gorgeous set design elements of Octopath Traveler. I want this idea to pick up steam because Final Fantasy VI has a big fan base that can help share its praises. Still, I genuinely believe that taking a powerhouse like that and combining it with Octopath Traveler would be a match made in the live stream. Number 2. Persona 3 Portable. Well, let me start by saying that I loved Persona 3 Portable when I played it on my Vita last year. The game is legendary, and it takes the life-altering ending to a story bar and blasts it straight through the moon. I beat this game late at night, and I just sat there in the wake of the emotional destruction it left on my soul. I immediately took to the YouTubes to see if anyone else was talking about how much this game affected them. I'm only a little late to the party. But then I discovered the glorious portable version wasn't strong enough to run the anime cutscenes in the original. What? There are anime cutscenes in this game? I immediately began to re-experience the game in a whole new way by watching the cutscenes to the game that had just changed me as a gamer. Look, I love Persona 3 Portable, and the combat was challenging, rewarding, and very fun. I did not mind that the game plays like a visual novel, but when I realized the FES version of the game had cutscenes and 3D cities to run around and explore, I got green with envy. But hey, at least I got to experience the combat. Then my friend lets me know the original version of the game didn't allow you to control your party members? What? Persona 3 Portable was the only version to allow you to have control of your party? Look, I understand you set a playstyle and then let them loose, but seriously, how did you guys beat that final boss? Jesus! Look, Persona is off the chains popular right now. You have Persona 1 and 2 fans talking about how perfect their game is, while Persona 4 and 5 fans talk about how amazing their games are. Still, I feel like Persona 3 is the ideal candidate for a heavy-duty remake to port to the Switch, combining the best elements of Persona 3 FES and the PSP version's best aspects. The Nocturne remake has kind of let me know that anything is possible with the loose cannon that is Atlas right now. Anything goes right now, and anything is possible. I can't make heads or tails of it, but I'm on this ride for life as a die-hard fanboy of this company. Heck, maybe Radiant Historia will get a surprise port to the Switch. Please. Anyways, Persona 3 is in the perfect climate for a remake. You have die-hard new fans and die-hard OG fans, and they would eat this remake up. I may not be emotionally ready to experience the life-altering effects of Persona 3's ending. Still, sweet social link niblets, let's do this. Number 1. Xenogears. This year has been one of the best rides of my life in terms of games I played. I first played Xenoblade 2 about 2 years ago, and I fell head over heels with the combat system and that world building. The story was alluring, and it led me on a hype train to play Xenoblade Chronicles for the Switch as soon as it was released. What an experience. I almost started emulating Xenosaga when I found out that Xenogears was on the Vita store, so I immediately decided that I would go from the Xenoblade on the Switch to this. Thank God I did. If I had not put myself a limitation of one game per franchise for my top 10 games I beat in 2020, this would definitely have clinched a solid spot. Xenogears is a game with one of the most unique art styles I have ever played in a game. I have never personally played a game that looked or even played like this one. Sprite models set in a 3D world, it works so perfectly well. I have this game as my number 1 pick for a remake because the last third of the game has a rushed presentation and it drastically alters the gameplay because of the budget restraints that was put on the top tier director, Tetsuya Takahashi. Now I need to heavily stress the point here that I believe this game is so freaking incredible. The Xeno series is killing it right now, and I know this game is not owned by Monolith, and you know what? It really sucks. I genuinely think this game has a very low chance of ever getting slated for a remake, but goodness, it deserves one. When I watched the credits roll in this game, I felt as if I had just witnessed some sacred part of human history that I should not have seen. I would go as far to say this is one of the best and impactful video game storylines I have ever played. Combine those with the revolutionary vision of the director, I think it more than earns a slated remake to bring that same exemplary vision to the gameplay in the last third of the game. Phenomenal experience, and a game that has haunted me since I finished it, beckoning me to still dwell on the implications of the story. Xenogears. Well guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of today's video. Those are the top 5 games I want remade, but how about you? Let me know down in the comments. I really can't wait to read them. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so we can hang out again in the future. And until then, I'll see you next time.